Hello, today we're gonna talk about 12 tense forms. So think of it this way. Tense is bracket. And we have two types of base forms. The first one is active. And the second one is passive. For example, we have build as an active base form. We have be built as the passive base form. And if you have a tense like is ing, and then if we put build into this bracket, it becomes is building. And if we put be built into this bracket, it becomes is being built. So the bracket is the same, is ing. The bracket is the same, is ing, is ing. So they have the same tense, but the difference here is we put build and we put be built in the bracket. So the difference is building is active voice, and is being built is passive voice. They have the same tense, which is present continuous. Same tense, right? So this is how the tense goes in English. So let's practice it in the table below. So we have build as the active base form. We have be built as the passive base form. So if we put build into this V2 bracket, here V2 means the second verb among build, built, built. Okay, so if you want to express past simple tense, you use the V2. So if you make build into V2, it becomes built, right? And how do we change be built into past simple tense? It's a little bit tricky, but it's easy because all we have to do is change be, right? So what's past simple of be? It is, of course, was or were built, right? Okay, let's move on. Past continuous of build is was or were building. And past continuous of be built is was or were being built. Do you see here? We have was or were ing bracket, was or were ing, was or were ing. So we have the same tense, was, were, ing. But the only difference here is we put build in the bracket here, but we put be built in the bracket here. So the difference it makes is the passive, the active, and passive voice, right? They have the same tense. Okay, move on. Past perfect. The bracket is had pp. If we put build into that bracket, it becomes had built, because the pp form of build is built. Okay, so it has the had pp tense. If we put be built into that pp bracket, it becomes had been built. Like I said earlier, the only thing we need to do is change be, right? So pp form of be is been, so it became been built, had been built. So these two have the same tense, had pp, had pp. But the only difference here is we put build in the bracket here, and we put be built in the bracket here. So what difference does it make? The left one is active, the right one is passive, but in same tense. Okay, next one, past perfect continuous. The bracket looks like this, had been ing. So if we put build into that bracket, it becomes had been building. It is in the bracket of had been ing. How about we put be built into that bracket? Had been being built. So it has the same tense, had been ing, but the only difference here is that we put build in the bracket here, but we put be built in the bracket here. What difference does it make? The left one is active, the right one is passive, but they are in same tense. Okay, let's move on to present tense. For present simple, we say builds or build. And if we put be built into that present simple tense, it becomes is, according to the subject, built. Okay? For present continuous, the bracket looks like this, is ing. If we put build into that bracket, it becomes are is building. It has are is ing bracket. And if we put be built into that same bracket, it becomes are is being built. It has the same bracket, are is ing. So we have the same tense here, but the difference between these two is the left one is active and the right one is passive. Why is that? Because we put build into this bracket, but here we put be built, which has the passive meaning, into this bracket. Okay, for present perfect we have, has, pp form bracket, and if we put build into that bracket, it becomes have or has built. If we put be built into that bracket, it becomes have or has been built. So we have the same tense here, which is have, has, pp, have, has, pp, but the only difference here is we put build in that bracket, but we put be built in that bracket. So what difference? Active and passive, and the tense is the same. Okay, for present perfect continuous, the bracket looks like this. So if we put build in the bracket, it becomes have, has been building. If we put be built in the bracket, it becomes have, has been being built. We have the same tense here. Sorry about this. We have the same tense here, which is have or has been ing. Have, has been ing. But the only difference here is we put build in the bracket and we put be built in the bracket, which makes the difference in voice. Okay, let's move on to future. So for future simple, the bracket looks like this, will and base form. So it is will build for the base form build, and it is will be built for the base form be built. Will and base form, will and base form. Same tense, difference in passive and active voice. And for future continuous, we have will be ing form. If we put build in it, it becomes will be building. If we put be built in it, it becomes will be being built. We have the same tense, which is will be ing, will be ing. But the only difference here is we put build in the bracket and be built in the bracket. Okay, for future perfect, we have this form, will have pp. So if we put build into that bracket, it becomes will have built. If we put be built into that bracket, it becomes will have been built. So they have the same tense, but difference in their voice. Okay, the last one, future perfect continuous. The bracket, the tense form, looks like this, will have been ing. So if we put build in it, it becomes will have been building. And if we put be built into that bracket, it becomes will have been being built. So we have the same tense, which is will have been ing, will have been ing. The only difference here is we put build into the left side and we put be built into the right side. Okay, this is how the pattern goes in tense in English. Okay, so that's it for today. For the next lesson, we're gonna talk about what their meanings are. So we have 12 tenses and active and passive forms. So we're gonna talk about what they mean actually. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you everybody. Good job.